Hey everyone, thought I'd do a short video and make a review of my Wondercross Wanderer titanium framed gravel bike. I've owned this bike for just over 12 months now. For a bit of reference, I ride mainly in the Wombat State Forest in Victoria. It's a real mix of terrain ranging from smooth hard pack forest tracks right through to single track, double track, goat track. It's really got everything out there, and I'm really pleased to say that this bike has been more than capable on everything really. We'll start with the main part of the bike being the frame set. This bike was built by William at Jetnikoff Cycles. The frame, titanium as I've already mentioned, designed in Australia, manufactured overseas, like many of these titanium frame bikes are. But having said that, the quality of the frame build, welding, etc. is fantastic. If you're an engineering type person, you'll really appreciate the effort they've gone to make this bike accommodate such large wheels. The chainstay and seat stays are something to behold. There are some serious angles going on there to accommodate those big tyres, so they can take up to a 2.2 700C, and then I think it's a 2.3, I could be wrong, in a 650B. I wouldn't be surprised if you could fit a bit more in there. Frame set consists of an MV carbon fork. It's the one with a little flip chip. I haven't used it very much, I've just played around with it a bit. It makes a little bit of a change to rake and trail. I've had a few big hits with this fork, and while it's flexed, it hasn't cracked or anything like that. It's actually responded really well. Geometry on the bike is probably more road bike biased, so I do suffer a little bit of toe overlap, but for the most part, once you get used to that, it's not that big an issue. It's probably more noticeable when you're doing really tight technical stuff, whether going up or down. Wheel set is by Spank. It's the Wing 22 gravel specific. Aluminium material there, really good. Hit plenty of hard hits with those now, hitting potholes and the like in dark and all that sort of thing. Perfectly true after 12 months of riding. Very few scratches. The spokes are all still really tight, so I'm really pleased with that. Proprietary wheels, hubs. Very little dirt ingress. They've held up really well, so I'm really pleased with that. Tyres are from Rene Hurst. Really love these tyres. Grip, I would say, has probably been 3 seasons out of 4 for me where I live. I had to swap over to some Maxxis Icons when it started to get greasy heading into winter. For the most part though, this tread is really capable on just about everything. Moving further along, handlebars are a set of 50mm, 500mm curved Walmer bars. For those of you that aren't sold on the wide stance bars, for this style of riding, I reckon that's absolutely perfect. I wouldn't go any wider, maybe a fraction narrower if you were wanting to get a bit more streamlined. For me personally, it's been just what I wanted. Chris King headset. Look, they are expensive, but I have to say I've stripped this one down a couple of times and there's been next to zero dust inside. Like, they are very well made. The wipe seals work really well. The group set that I went with was Shimano GRX. Preference for me was that I've had Shimano in the past, and also that I prefer the 2-lever shifting as opposed to SRAM's single lever for up and down. Just a personal preference there. Clutch has been really great for stopping chain slap. The only modification I've made here, if you can call it a modification, is I went with a smaller chain ring just to give me a bit more range. Shimano only goes down to a 40 tooth as standard. This is a 36 tooth by Wolf Tooth. So the range that I get on the back with the 1142 is about roughly calculated to a 51 tooth if I'd gone with the 40 still. So fairly easy change there for a bit more range, which has worked out really well for me. Running just Shimano combination pedals there. Do a little bit of bike packing, and also I find that flat pedals is a good thing to have when you're trying to pop wheelies and stuff. I'm, even as a grown adult, pretty much an amateur, so any help I can get helps. I opted for a dropper post on this bike. This is a Pro 27.2mm dropper post. Only 70mm of drop, but for me that makes a big difference. This is a large frame. I got long legs, so anything where I can clear it out of the way makes a big difference. You can run it as a lever actuated, but for my bike it was built up with the little proprietary lever. It's not great. My preference would be that it was the same shape in both directions, being a bit more leveraged. The thumb button, which is the fatter of the two, is a bit hard to operate in the drops. May have a little bit to do with the way the cables are routed inside, but it works perfectly fine. Best thing to do is just have it dropped before you start running down a hill. It's a bit hard to do when you're in the moment. From build, I've changed the saddle over to a charged spoon saddle. I did have a Pro Stealth gravel saddle, but it just wasn't quite the right shape for me. Everyone's got their own preference, so I went with something that I've used in the past. What have I missed? No, that's pretty much everything. So happy to say I've been really pleased with this bike. It was expensive, but for me it was going to be a once in a lifetime purchase. I wanted something that was versatile and could be adapted to different disciplines without too much fuss, and this bike really is that. As I said, I've been really happy with it. It's been a lot of fun, and I plan on doing a hell of a lot more riding. Yeah, so tell me what you think.